Hey, just want to give you a quick update on the build, how things are going, and help you through a few problem areas where you may struggle to figure out what's happening. So one is, I just love how all this aligns. You'll notice that there's this hole here, which is made for a small screw. You just need to make sure that that screw won't come through the other side. As long as that's the case, this holds this slider piece in really nice and tight. Then whenever you're working with the magnets, I just take a stack. I just make a stack of magnets so that stick them to something metal so that you're always pulling from the top and you keep everything aligned in the same direction. This is working out really well. I love how this is much more sturdy than my previous versions, and still keeping things mostly not glued together, but I'm very happy with how the components are holding on. It's a sniper piece. It looks really great. But I want to walk through specifically things with the trigger. That's definitely more of a challenge area. And so the handle and the trigger. So you've got the handle, and then I've put in the description, I've linked to a set of springs from Home Depot. And basically all you need to do is you'll put this on top of the trigger, and then fit this in and get that seated correctly. So the spring is then tucked in as far as it'll go, and then I've got a new piece. And if you don't already have this, if you didn't get it in the downloads, I'll send you the link to it, or you shoot me an email at kyle@kylegilbert.com and I'll send it to you. But this is made for this electrical component, the switch, lever switch. And what will happen here is you'll solder some wires off of it based on the electrical connection, and then this will slide. This will fit right inside. There's a channel for your wires to come out the top, and then this you'll want to glue down. You want to glue down on both the left, right, and back sides on the bottom, so that you have a nice tight connection here. When this is in place, then the trigger mechanism works and works well. So that's one thing that you need to know. And then depending on the model that you're using for this piece, you may or may not have an opening here. If you do, I've got an extra piece that you can glue in. You'll just want to make sure that you glue it in really well, and then once it hardens in place, you also put glue here. That's just going to fill in this piece. Newer models won't have that hole, but wanted to help for those of you that have an older print like mine. And then this is just going to go up inside of there. And once you have the trigger mechanism done and the wires, some long wires in place there, you're good to go ahead and glue all this up and glue the handle on. Just be careful about, we want to make sure that things aren't glued together when you still need access. So for instance, this piece, the 7-digit display, I know I want to add I want to light that, and so I'm not gonna glue the front piece on until I've got that solved. And I also need access so I can tighten down the switch. So anyway, hopefully soon I've got some instructions and can share that with you guys so that you know how to do it. One other thing that I want to walk through is the piece of PVC that you'll need for the anti-armor. And basically with that, you'll want to cut a piece, I think about 4.5 inches. I would recommend that you have one side that is a nice finish edge, and as you'll see, my cut here is not very straight, but that's okay because there's a cap that'll go over it and it'll be fine. But the nice finish edge will be exposed. And then when you're gluing this together, you want to make sure that you use this. First of all, you're going to have to sand down the outside of this PVC quite a bit to make it go in and out smoothly. There's already some prints and things out here, so it needs to be done, but this is still a little bit tight for where it needs to be. But when you go to glue this outside piece to the rest of the anti-armor attachment, just make sure that you use a piece of PVC inside to make sure it's aligned with the other part. If it's not completely straight on there, this is not going to go in. So use this, just make sure it doesn't get glued inside there. That would be a problem. So I would recommend run some glue around the edge here, stick this to the other part, and then make sure that you're turning this so to break that glue. And then before it hardens, you want to make sure you take this out, check your alignment. Anyway, just a quick run through of things. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions. All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate you guys being customers and following along on this build.